Hi, and welcome along to a game of two halves here on DR Sport. I'm joined by the main man himself, Mark Goldbridge. Mark, hi, and welcome along. The weekend's games, I have to say, this was not a memorable weekend for the Premier League. If you was visiting the UK and checking out the Premier League for the first time, you may be like thinking to yourself, what is all the hype and fuss about? Because some of the games that were served up were not the greatest. Let's start with the one yesterday. There were two ball draws yesterday because Chelsea, they drew away at Brentford, and that's pretty damaging to them. But also in your game, Manchester United versus Manchester City, everybody's looking forward to this game. It's the 4:30 kickoff, the prime kickoff here in the UK, and it was dead. That was a boring game, Mark.
Yeah, I think it probably was. I mean, look, talk about the weekend. I'm looking forward to doing Team of the Week because I've got half a team that's not the same as yours. So, and I'm going to die on this hill. But that's only because I think if you were visiting, you'd go to Palace, Brighton and Villa Forest, which I thought were good games. But the big games that you'd expect didn't deliver. I thought Arsenal-Everton was boring. And so was Chelsea-Brentford, like you say. Man City, United. I mean, I think... I do agree it was boring, and so many people have said it's boring. But from a Man United fan, I sort of look at it and go, well, hold on a minute. We're in the bottom half of the table. We're not fighting for top five. Our season's all about Thursday. I think we did our part as good as we could. We need a lot of players. Everybody knows that. So I find it a little bit confusing when you've got Neville and co slating us after the game, and then everyone else slating us. And I'm like, hold on a minute. We're rubbish. Everyone's been telling us we're rubbish. And I thought for our level yesterday, I thought we defended well and we created a few chances in the box. And to be honest, I'm a United fan and I'm like going, that for us is not a bad performance compared to where we've been at home, losing to Bournemouth and Palace and everyone else like that. So I feel that the criticism of United is valid across the whole season. But in relation to yesterday's performance, that actually was one of our better performances. I know where United should be, but that was one of our better performances. City, they probably will get top five, but they don't deserve it. They're terrible. They really are terrible. We should have beat them yesterday. And if it hadn't been for a bit of, another bad weekend of refereeing, I think we would have got one of those soft penalties. Certainly the Casemiro one. I didn't really see it yesterday, but saw it this morning. That's a penalty for me.
Yeah, you could argue that was a penalty. I mean, you are right in a way because, I guess what it is, right, is you look on a game like that, right, and you're looking at two giants of British football, right, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this is going to be, and it's a derby as well. And then you saw that game play out, and I was like, well, even at the end, you know what I mean? There's no sort of spikiness to hugging each other. Yeah. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne, sad to see you go and all that stuff. I was like, hey, what's this? I want a derby.
That could irritate me.
You know what I mean? You want a derby. I want like blood and thunder. You know what I mean? At the very least, innit? As British fans, blood and thunder at the very least. There was no blood and thunder. You are right. United were the better team. United were by far the better team. But City, I was watching them and I'm like, you don't deserve top 4-5. You know what I mean? They're not very good. They've not deserved to get in that position this season. They've not. And I think they might struggle. If that's what they're going to be serving up, they may struggle to get into that top 4-5, which are the positions that are going to get you into the Champions League. Because I'm looking around, I think Newcastle are a better side than them. Chelsea, I don't know what they're going to do, but Villa are motoring and getting some momentum. They better watch it because they could quite easily not get into those spots. No Haaland, they don't look the same team without him at all. I think for defenses, they're looking at it and thinking, well, Haaland's out. That big threat's not there. That sort of thing that makes you really worried. So, and they just couldn't break United down. I thought they were really, really poor. I mean, their midfield is like static, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I look at that Man City side and you go, all right, they got the FA Cup semi-final, but they are in a race for top 5 as well. Yeah. United, we're not going to do anything this year in the league, but we look like we wanted it more. I mean, they've got a Club World Cup in the summer. They look like they want that as much as a vegan wants a bloody Big Mac meal, don't they? They look like they don't need that. They actually need a couple of months off and a bit of a reset, don't they? But it's I was shocked how bad Man City were. But you're right, it's a Manchester derby, and as a spectacle, I think for everybody else, other than level-headed United fans who know Thursday's more important, and that wasn't a bad performance from us, I think it was dreadful, yeah. And I do think, it's a bigger question. I think the Premier League has got a little bit of an identity crisis. They sell it as the best league in the world. I think the football has become very robotic. I think people are taking less risks. I think there's too much football. Obviously, the officiating is dreadful as well. That feeds into it. And I think fans are starting to wake up to the fact that we get it rammed down our throats. It's the best league in the world. But at times it really isn't. And we need a little bit. That's why I like the Villa Forest game, because it was end to end and open. Football can be great in this country. But I think those games yesterday were served up. And that's not what we want to see. Even the Tarkowski foul again in the Merseyside derby, it was horrific. But at least it was a little bit of, in a derby.
Yeah. Something to talk about, at least. I mean, the other games, not much to talk about there. Well, actually, no. What am I talking about? So the 0-0 Brentford, Chelsea, not much to talk about. Tottenham beating Southampton, not much to talk about. They're Southampton relegated at last. Get them out. They've been absolutely appalling, right? I mean, to get beaten by Spurs, for Spurs to send you down, that shows you how bad you've been this season, right? But the one good game that there was yesterday, I watched this game. I watched all the games yesterday, but watched this game, and this game was an excellent game.
Yeah.
Was Fulham's surprise defeat, surprisingly defeating Liverpool. Liverpool, who've been looked a bit, they've been faltering recently. As an Arsenal fan, it makes me so annoyed that we're not closer, because they have been faltering. They went 1-0 up in this game, remember? Right? A brilliant strike by McAllister. But then in the space of no time, Fulham and Muniz, Leadness, Sessegnon, Iwobi, they came right back into the game, 3-1. Liverpool threw the kitchen sink and brought on loads of attackers, really went for it, to their credit, got one back. But in the end, a 3-2 win for Fulham. Only Liverpool's second defeat of the season. They didn't look that great to me in the first half against Everton the other night as well. Everton were very unlucky not to be in the lead in that game. Liverpool fought him, but they ain't got nobody on their case.
Look, first of all, for Fulham, I always say they're the quintessential Premier League side. They can beat anyone and they can lose to anyone. And that is my big positive for the season, is that the Fulhams, the Brentfords, the Brightons, the Forests, the Bournemouths, they've made this season better because they can beat anyone. And I think that's a credit to them. And Fulham were brilliant yesterday. But I'll say it again, Robbie, and I'm sure you're going to agree, and you're going to be more angry than me. I saw Villa get back into the top 5 race because they were active in the January transfer window. They were aggressive. They used that half time in the season to refresh themselves. Arsenal must be kicking themselves as fans, because if you'd have bought a striker in January, that Liverpool team over the last month has been wobbling. If they're if they're wobbling with no pressure, imagine what they'd have been like if you'd have had 4 or 5 more points. And I think Arsenal have got to look at that and go, we dropped the ball in January. We weren't ambitious. Villa were, we weren't. And look what, in some ways, this was the title that maybe, I'm not taking it away from Liverpool. They're the best team, but they should have been put under some pressure. And even Liverpool fans will know that. They can look behind them, like you say, and go, we're all right. But Arsenal should be breathing down their necks, and they're not, because they just didn't do anything in January. And that's on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why so many fans are so angry and so disengaged with the Premier League as Arsenal fans, because of that. You know what I mean? As I said, I think I said it last week. A friend of mine said to me that his tickets for the Premier League games for the rest of the season, he's just putting them on the Arsenal ticket exchange so that he can get back £300 worth of his £1,000 season ticket. Because as far as what he said to me, he goes, they gave it up in January, so why, as a fan, I don't feel like I should go. He goes, they can go and get lost, right? And I have him right. You know what I mean? We gave it, even if we were 6 points off them right now, right? Remember, we still got to go to Anfield. So we could have bought that within like 3 points. We could have made it really nervy for Liverpool, because they have definitely been faltering, but they didn't go for it, Arsenal. It's the games we've drawn, 11 draws. What does that tell you? You had a killer in those games that even turned half of those into wins, right? It will be a completely different league right now. But the board, they just gave up on it in January. Just said, we wait until the summer. And I thought it was absolutely criminal. And the other player, what's happened to Mo Salah? Yeah. People talking about Ballon d'Or and stuff like that. I mean,
I
listen,
still think he's player of the year, isn't he?
They're still going to win the league, and he'll get player of the year here. He has been brilliant this season. But over the last, say, month, he's gone missing, and he was missing yesterday. I'd say he hardly touched the ball in the whole game. Is it that the defenses have just said to himself, now we just like put a couple on him, 2, 3, treble him up, and keep him out of the game? What's happened to him?
Look, mate, it's my birthday this week and I ain't getting any younger. So I've got, and this is a long time ago, but I do remember years ago when Man United used to win titles, sometimes you get knocked out, and Arsenal will have had this as well. Sometimes you get knocked out of Europe in like too soon. And although you're going to win the league and everyone says, well, that's the big thing, it does knock you. And especially this week, it will knock them a little bit. And I think the way the Premier League works at the moment, we just mentioned Fulham, slight drop off in your mentality or your game, and you get found out. Van Dijk got found out yesterday. He's the best centre back in the league, I think. Really,
yeah.
And I think Liverpool. I think Liverpool have just. I think that week where they got beat by Newcastle and PSG. I think it's knocked them. I think they know that. I tell you what, I think Liverpool would be better if Arsenal were chasing them down because they'd have something to some jeopardy. I think they know the season's over, and I think sometimes. Like you say with the Arsenal fans, I think in the Premier League there's not really anything going on, and I think with Salah it's I just think there's a few players at Liverpool who probably just want to get that title won and get the season over because they've definitely dropped a bit, haven't they? But also just on Arsenal very quickly, we might talk about them anyway. I'm not Liverpool deserve to win the league. And maybe they would have played better with a bit of jeopardy, but you're right. Arsenal have drawn a lot of games without a striker. Also, look at the amount of points Arsenal have been taken off them because of bad refereeing decisions as well. I mean, Diaz yesterday trips Agate up when the whistle's been blown on a yellow card. That's a second yellow. Referee goes, no, that's fine. Declan Rice moves the ball 2 inches, red. Trossard kicks the ball away at half-time in a game where you don't want to send someone off, red. At the weekend, not even a penalty. I mean, I can think of 6 points that Arsenal have lost this season on refereeing decisions as well. So, it's
that poor kid, Miles Lewis-Skelly, right? He always seems to be involved in it. Let's get to that game, the Everton game. Arsenal 1-0 up, absolutely cruising, right? I mean, it weren't a great game. Weren't like we were threatening. We made loads of changes. Obviously had one eye on that Real Madrid game. He realizes that the league's gone, so he made loads and loads of changes, right? But I thought the first half, we deserved to be in the lead. We were clinical, could have been probably 2 up. But then comes that decision in the second half. And Miles Lewis-Skelly again, who were wrongly sent off, remember when they had to reverse it. This one, I mean, I could not believe what I was watching. Like, if you actually watch it, Harrison doesn't even appeal. He goes down, right? He gets across, they're both getting across each other. And as a defender, you are allowed to try and get across your player. You are allowed to do that, right? It's not a non-contact sport. He gets across him. You could argue that if there is any foul, it's outside the box anyway, right? And he gets across him. They come together. It's a tangling up, right? And then when Harrison goes down, he tries to get back up and play on. And then inexplicably, out of nowhere, this referee blows for a penalty. And then they're not going to overturn it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've had enough of these referees. I did an interview on Saturday and I said, let's just try and usher in AI as quickly as possible. That just referees a game and we don't even need them. I've had enough of them this season. I'm not using it as an excuse for Arsenal, right? Because like you said, the board should have done their business in January and we have had a lot of injuries, right? I think that's the main part. But I don't want to hear the swings and roundabouts thing when it comes to some of these decisions. These referees, they're not just Arsenal games. In general, have been shocking. Tarkowski, by the way, who also cynically took out Miles Lewis-Skelly when he was on a brilliant run. Now, listen, I ain't blaming him for that because, that's what defenders do, right? He shouldn't even been playing in the game.
No.
He shouldn't be there. He should have been gone from that horrendous tackle that he did the other night, right? But that weren't overturned. Like you said, the Declan Rice thing, that's a red. But the Tarkowski foul the other night, honestly, I saw your tweet about it and I was like, he's spot on. It's a joke now. They're out of control.
I think as we know in life, respect is earned. It's not demanded. And that's the biggest problem with the referees and the PGMOL. They're just not listening to fans. And you and I know from what we do. I'm watching United yesterday. I've got people from New Zealand. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, there's people in the States. There's people in the Middle East, India. People are watching the Premier League at ridiculous hours. And they're serving up this nonsense. And the whole point of viewing football is that you immerse yourself in it. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm not an Everton fan. I'm watching that game and I'm seeing something and I'm going, all right, you know what? Arsenal are a bit of a rival. This is a bit funny. They've conceded a penalty. But it didn't happen. I looked at it and went, here we go again. Because I feel robbed as a football fan, because I don't just watch United. I watch a lot of football like you, Robbie, and I'm watching that and I'm going, hold on a minute. That is just never a penalty. And then you get people afterwards going, well, look, it's soft, but they can't overturn it because it's not clear and obvious. And I'm like, they bloody well can.
It's clear and obvious.
It's just not a penalty. And it's like, it's happening all the time. And look, this is horrible to say, but Howard Webb should be sacked. If this was AFTV, if you say AFTV and you're, you know, things are going wrong in your organisation, then, you know, you would have to front up and face up to it. 1 or 2 incidents you'd front up. I know you would, but this has been going on for 2 years and Howard Webb's just sat there doing nothing. And they're treating fans like peasants. It's like a dictatorship. Oh, you'll just have to put up with it. And it's wrong. And you know, I also blame the media. I think the media, sometimes we see, like yesterday in the United game, Ruben Diaz falls over on the floor. It looks like it could be a handball. They show it 4 times to prove it's not. Then you get another contentious issue. They won't even show it. Like last week, the Bernardo Silva handball before the Bournemouth put their second goal. They don't even show it on ITV. And you're like, hold on a minute. I think they're even scripting us as fans by highlighting how good the referees are, but never showing how bad they are. And I think everybody's had enough of it, but they won't do anything about it. We'll have another year of this next year.
Yeah, the only people who are talking the truth about it is people like me, you, other guys like who do these sort of platforms who tell the truth. Yeah. These media companies, I'm sorry, the big ones, they've been compromised. Yeah. They're getting phone calls off of the PGMOL saying, come on, guys, ease us up a bit. I mean, you guys are going in too heavy on us.
Yeah, we meeting every 2 weeks, mate.
Sorry?
They have a meeting every 2 weeks, the PGMOL and all the media companies. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. And listen, refereeing job is a difficult job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they can't make mistakes, right? I watch lots of grassroots football, right? I see how tough it is even at that level. I've seen referees get abused. I don't want none of that. I want to have respect for referees. But Howard Webb, who's in charge of the referees, what I'd like to know is what mark out of 10 would he give his organization at the end of the season? I mean, what mark out of 10 would you give him, Mark?
Genuinely,
the general standard of refereeing over this season, the David Coote stuff as well, you've got to throw that into it and all that. What would you give them out of 10 for this season?
I'd say I'm a 2 or 3 because I've been frustrated from day one. You know, even the Declan Rice red card, that, you know, they changed the rules halfway through the game. I just think, you know, last season you could foul a goalkeeper. You couldn't foul a goalkeeper. I think, I think a 2 or a 3. And also, I think the big line is, though, they're ruining the viewing experience. I can't watch a game now and know what a red card is, a handball is, a yellow card. I don't know the rules. I did know the rules. I've grown up with football, but they've made me not understand the game because they're so bad at their job. Yeah,
I think a 2's fair, right? And in the amount of times it takes them to get to decisions. Look at that game the other night, a Chelsea Spurs game. It's crazy, right? But anyway, let's just move on and just rattle through the others. A bit unfairly because these were the best games of the weekend. Like you said, the game Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest, great game, but a massive win for Aston Villa.
Yeah, and Forest was, you know what? I find Forest, I've not watched them that much, but I think they're quite, you know, they do what they do. They defend like they did against United to get a goal. Second half, they deserved at least a point. They were so good in the second half, but Villa was so good in the first half. So I thought it was a brilliant game, a brilliant advert for playing openly, and a game of 2 halves as well. But yeah, I wanted Villa to win because I think the top 5 race, Villa would have been Villa on thin ice, and they've had a couple of good wins one at Brighton, one at Brentford, and then this one as well. And I think Villa are, you know, reaping the rewards of a good transfer window, whereas Forest probably are missing Wood a little bit too much at the moment.
Yep. Another great game was Crystal Palace 2, Brighton 1, derby game. Palace, Mateta with a great goal in that game. Again, that could have, you know, that could quite easily have finished off 2-2, but it was a fantastic game that was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the derby thing. I think it's something to do with a motorway or something, isn't it? But it's, look, again, that's a Palace Palace did this last year. If they could start doing this in November, they'd be up there where the likes of Bournemouth and Forest are. So brilliant team at the moment into a semi-final. If they can keep the momentum up, they're a dangerous proposition for anyone at the moment.
Yeah. West Ham drawing with Bournemouth. Bournemouth yet again dropping points against West Ham. It should have been out of sight in the first half, Bournemouth. They were excellent. But allowed again West Ham to come back, right? They did it the other day against Tottenham. They were 2-0 up in that game. Drop points, their chances of top 4 or 5 starting to dwindle.
Yeah, I think they're gone now, Bournemouth, and it's a shame because they've just had a really bad month and the semi-final and the quarter-final of the cup as well. But still a good season for Bournemouth. But it's a bit like Mo Salah, isn't it? You know, when you finish the season badly, that's what people remember. But they've had a great season, Bournemouth.
Yeah, and our team that's done really, really well, right? Wolves. That was a huge win for them. They're 1-0 down at Ipswich, come back to win 2-1. Now 12 points clear, is it? Let me just check the table. I mean, that defeat there, 12 points clear now. Their manager's come in. He's done an absolutely brilliant job, by the way. Nobody's really been talking about him. He's I remember they've done it the last 4 games without Cunha. Strand Larsen's come to form. And Ipswich, that was a really bad defeat for them. They're looking definitely down now with Ipswich, with Southampton.
Yeah, we spoke about it a few times. It's a huge issue here. The gap between the Championship and the Premier League is just getting bigger. And we're almost at a point now where we don't have relegation. We almost are a Super League because whoever comes up, they're going to go straight back down again, aren't they? And if Ipswich can't beat Wolves, who are their team to pull in the relegation battle, if they can't beat them at home, then, they deserve to go down, don't they?
Yeah. One more game to go is Newcastle taking on Leicester tonight. Don't hold out much for Leicester, but it's a huge opportunity for Newcastle. Newcastle win that game, they go on to 50. They're currently 7th on 50 points, but if they win tonight, they go on to 53 points. That drops Man City out of the top 5. And remember, Villa are only 1 point behind them in 6th place on 50 points. Despite that defeat, Liverpool still, 11 points clear at the top of the league. But that race for top 4 is really, really hotting up and getting really, really interesting. Before you go, Mark, big game for me tomorrow, right? It's Arsenal season, basically. Arsenal taking on Real Madrid at the Emirates Stadium, first leg of the Champions League. And actually, I want to also ask you about the game on Wednesday, Aston Villa against PSG. Any chance for the English clubs?
I hope so. I mean, PSG would probably be the team that I wouldn't mind winning it this year, just to have something a little bit different. I know they've got rich owners, but I think they've moved away from the whole Mbappe, Neymar thing and actually built a team, and it's working. But I think Arsenal have got a chance against Madrid. I know you were saying to me they lost at the weekend.
Yeah, they lost to Valencia yesterday. The day was it yesterday? Saturday. They lost to Valencia 2-1 at home as well.
Look, Arsenal are a good defensive side. They've got to score the goals. That's obviously always going to be the issue. And I just hope Arsenal aren't in a situation where it's like if we got a striker in January to beat Real Madrid. That's the concern. So I think Arsenal got a chance. I'd say they've got the better chance out of the two. And I hope they do it. And then Villa, I thought first half against Forest, you'd think Villa have got a chance. Second half, you'd think PSG are going to tear them apart. So I think Villa have got a chance, but they're more of an underdog than Arsenal. So I'd say I've just got a feeling Arsenal might find a way through. Actually, I just hope it's not something fine margin, dodgy decision, because we've had enough of them in the Premier League. This
enough of them. Can't have it, and no more injuries for Arsenal, please. Right, but no, looking forward to the game. Massive game. Arsenal taking on Real Madrid, and of course another exciting game. PSG, the most exciting team that I've seen in Europe this season, right? They're taking on Aston Villa. In an attacking sense, Villa have been excellent as well. Let's get into our team of the week before we go.
Yep.
Well, you said you've gone with a completely different team. You know what? Let's just let me just run through your team. Tell me your whole team.
I've not wrote my whole team down actually. I have agreed with some of yours, but
okay. All right. Let me run with. All right. Let's do it as how we normally do it then. Right. Okay. So I've got Leno in goal, even though he conceded 2 goals. I've gone with him in goal. He made some great saves to win them that game. That was a shock win of the weekend. What did you go with?
Yeah, no, I agree. Did think Dean Henderson had a good game for Palace again, but he conceded a goal. But yeah, I think Leno has been very, very good this season. So yeah, let's go with him.
I was going to go with Henderson, but I thought to myself that it was just the magnitude of that win, right?
Yeah. He made a lot of good saves as well.
Which is also the reason I went with Castagna. Again, even though they conceded 2, I thought he played really well at right back. And Robinson at left back, right? He had Salah out the game, marked out. The guy barely touched the ball. So I've gone with those 2.
Right, I would. I mean, it's the one I sort of went different with Maatsen at left back, but I think Robinson shades it because he played for longer and he had a longer, better game. So yeah, I'll give it to Robinson. But I thought Maatsen, I like him going forward. I think he's a good player.
Right.
I know you went with Yoro and Saliba as your centre backs.
Yeah.
The only difference I've got with that is that I think Mazraoui was man of the match for Man United. So I would have gone Mazraoui over Yoro. I thought he was absolutely flawless.
Okay. I liked Yoro's runs.
Yeah, he's looking good.
He's done that a few times, and I like that. You know what I mean? And he kept a clean sheet. You know what I mean? So, what's all you want to get? Mazraoui's not. You weren't really paying. Well, he's like one of the 3 centre backs, I guess, isn't it? 3 at the back. So
it's a Man United player there. I'm not going to argue with Yoro. So I just wanted to
Yoro and
Saliba.
I thought Saliba was commanding, considering like the amount of it. He must have a headache. The amount of like balls that would just be lumped into the box time after time, right? As Everton do. Midfield, I've gone Sanderberg, who I thought was excellent for Fulham. Rodgers at Villa. And Eze at Palace, who was excellent.
Yeah, I've got Eze. I'd agree with Berg, and I put Tielemans in. I thought he played really, really well for Villa, but again, you've gone with another Villa player, so yeah, I'm not going to die on that hill. You can have that. There's one I'm not going to. This is where it's going to get interesting.
All right, I've got Muniz of Fulham, who I thought bullied Van Dijk, and that ain't easy to do. That second goal where he just gets across and says, "Get out of here!" No, I love that. Right, he was excellent. Strand Larson, Wolves. Right, this guy has been stepped up to the plate in the absence of Cunha and has been banging in the goals. Another big goal for Wolves, the goal that probably keeps them in the division. And I thought Sessegnon, Fulham, excellent. Right, he was giving Liverpool loads of problems in that first half and played really, really well. Who you ain't having?
Well, he's had a bad week, and I think you've got to put Garnacho in there for United. I'm winding him up. No, I've got I put Evan Nilsson in because I think although they dropped points, I thought he was fantastic for Bournemouth and deserved to be on a winning team, and I think he deserved to be in. And I thought Iwobi for Fulham was fantastic in that game as well. And I thought, I wonder if Robbie will put him in as an ex-Arsenal player. I don't know, might be a bit biased, but I thought those two players were really good.
So who'd say Iwobi and
Iwobi and Evan Nilsson, I thought were absolutely fantastic. I get the Strand Larson one. I thought he played well in Muniz, but I think Evan Nilsson scored 2.
Yeah, he did play well. He's looking a player, he is, man. All right, let's put Evan Nilsson in instead of Sessegnon.
Okay.
Yeah, Evan Nilsson instead of Sessegnon. But that's the team. Don't forget, people, we'll be back on Friday, right? On That's Football.
Looking forward to it.
I'll be looking forward to the weekend, right? And of course, we will have the fallout from whatever happened in the Champions League. Please, Arsenal, come on, right? And we'll have the fallout of what happens in the, let me get a prediction on that just quickly. Your game against Lyon.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, the Premier League, I think, was better this weekend than midweek. Obviously, the international break kills momentum. But I'm properly looking forward to the Champions League and the Europa League because maybe some elements of the Premier League, the title race and relegation, we're missing that jeopardy. Top 5 race is good, but this week it's proper. It's knockout football, Champions League, Europa League. Some people like United and Spurs, their season rests on this. If they don't get it, and Arsenal. So and Villa PSG, I think it'd be great. So I'm really excited about this week.
Yep. What about your prediction for your game?
Oh yeah, I sort of skirted that a bit. I think. Look, I think we'll be all right. I think again, it's a bit like Arsenal. It's scoring the goals. Defensively, we've been okay. I fancy us. Look, this is not the Champions League, and this is not PSG. This is the Poundland PSG. Eintracht Frankfurt at the Poundland Bayern Munich, aren't they? Athletic Bilbao at the Poundland Barcelona. This is the Poundland Champions League. So we've got, if we embarrass ourselves in this, which we probably will, I can't deal with it. But no, I still think Man United are going to win it. I'm in a minority of one, but I still think we're going to win the whole thing, and I'll keep believing.
I think you got a great chance against Leon, but I'm just waiting to see the UEFA getting in contact with you for calling it the Poundland Champions League.
Hey, I'm just grateful. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad they created it, and it's a ticket into the Champions League, isn't it? So I think it's a
big ticket.
It's a great tournament. But look, what I'm saying is, we're not playing Barcelona, we're not playing PSG, so we've got players that really have underperformed this year. We should be winning this game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Mark, thank you very much. Have a good day. And when's your birthday? Happy birthday for
tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, big up 8th. Well, big up to you. Happy birthday to you. Right. Enjoy your day. Hopefully, it's crowned with an Arsenal win.
Yeah, I'd take that. I mean, it's not the best present, but it's certainly one that I'd be. I want Arsenal to get through. I don't think they're going to win it anyway. I think Barcelona will win it, or maybe PSG. But English clubs staying in it long. We need. It's meant to be the best league in the world, and we can't be going out in the quarterfinals.
Exactly. Mark, thank you very much.
No worries, mate. Cheers.